Welcome to Turnitin.com. Turnitin.com is an originality check, grading, and peer editing resource for both students and teachers. This brief video is going to highlight the originality check feature so that teachers know how to use the website as a teaching tool rather than a gotcha device. When I log in, I'm immediately going to see a list of all the classes that I've created. If I click on a class, say Team English Period 4, I'm going to see a list of all the assignments that I've given. A few important things I want to call your attention to on this main page, and that is the first date listed here. That's the date that students were first able to post their assignment. I recommend that teachers give their students at least a few days to submit their papers early and give them the option to resubmit so that students can check their papers before they turn in the final draft. The due date is right here, and the post date is right here, and that means students are able to view their papers with my comments. This number right here is the number of students who actually submitted the paper. Let's go into one of the papers. I'm going to select this assignment right here, 9A only, Count of Monte Cristo journals. All I have to do is click on View. When I do, it brings up a list of all my students and their papers. Of particular interest is the similarity index column and the date that the students turned in the paper. If the paper was late, it's going to be highlighted red, which is really nice. They're all time-stamped. Going back to the similarity index, this is where teachers and students can get in a little bit of trouble. Just because the similarity seems low, like a 2% match, and it's connected to the green, you might think green means good to go, but this is not the case. It's very important that teachers check all papers. If you go all the way to the opposite end of the spectrum, this paper is quite alarming. It says there's a 54% match, and it's labeled orange. Let's check that one out and see what's going on. So I click on the similarity index, and up pops the student's paper with particular parts highlighted. Now, these highlighted parts are the parts that have been scanned against the internet and show that there's duplication. In the right-hand bar, it'll show you a number of sources where this student could have potentially taken this information. This one's highlighted pink and it's labeled number 2, so I'm going to look at source number 2. This says that the same information was submitted to a Mount Tabor High School paper. Now, is this really plagiarized? Does the student happen to know some other kid going to Mount Tabor High School? Chances are no, it's coincidental. If I look at her paper, I can see that she's actually put quotation marks around the quote. If I look at what else is going on, it doesn't take me long to figure it out. This entire quotation, even though it's quoted and it's given page numbers, is saying it came from search.barnesandnoble.com. All I have to do is click on the source on the right-hand bar, and it brings up the source on the internet, the original source. This is really just a quote that's been transcribed. The student's not using it as part of her analysis. Is it plagiarism? No. And I happen to know that the rest of the paper is the same way. Let's close out this paper. Let's look at one that doesn't seem like it's plagiarism. If we click on a 19% match, it's in the green. Some interesting things happen. First of all, I see that source number 4, this has been repeated several times, and in fact, the same information was submitted to Palo Alto High School. Is that alarming? No, and it's probably this same kid's paper, or else somebody else in my class, because I have them head their papers in the same way. Let's move on. It's not long before I find something that's very fishy looking. Look at all this information that's been copied from source number 1. If I look at source number 1 on the right, it comes from Wikipedia. Already, that's pretty alarming. Let's click on the source and see what's going on. I want to see the full source. It's going to pop up in this right-hand bar. And sure enough, everything that's read in the original source is indication that it's been copied in his paper here. It's pretty much word for word. The student has taken out a few of the words, but Turnitin.com recognizes sentence patterns as well as direct wording. This student has clearly plagiarized. Uh-oh. So what do? I need to make a report. Turnitin.com makes that very simple. I close out. All I have to do is click on the file icon, and this document will be downloaded, including a list of sources where the student has plagiarized. To see an overview, I click on Home. I can click on Statistics, and this will give me as a teacher a snapshot of what's going on in my class. Most importantly, it's going to really help me evaluate how I'm teaching plagiarism and how to avoid it. Turnitin.com offers a host of resources. If I go to the main page and I go to Resources, click on White Papers, you'll find a number of handouts and lessons and collaboration tools that'll help teachers really use this resource as a teaching device, not a gotcha device, as it was intended.